Hey guys, I hope you are having a great day today. We had some really interesting developments today that we need to talk and discuss, and we also have some serious clarifications to make regarding the DTC005. AMC in particular had some pretty bullish developments happen and we need to quickly discuss them in detail. I am working on a DD drop for tomorrow right now, so today we are going to keep it simple and just refresh on a couple of things to keep in mind as we move forward with AMC and GameStop. Tomorrow's DD drop is going to relate once again to a single portion of the regulation NMS that we discussed on Monday and on Sunday's video. Keep in mind everything I talk about on these videos is my own opinion subject to my own research and experience, and that I am not a financial advisor. There is something in particular that I kept bothering me, and upon more research into it, I found some rather interesting things that will provide a lot of insight, but all that is currently in the works for the rest of the day today to be released tomorrow, so be sure you are subscribed and hit that alarm bell so that you are notified when that video drops, because you will not want to miss it. Today, as I said, let's keep it easy, so without further delay, let's dive right in. Big news came today, with Robinhood making headlines once again. FINRA announced today that it fined the infamous broker $57 billion, while also ordering the stock trading app with an additional $13 million in restitution for damages it made to its thousands of clients, totaling the damage at $70 million. This settlement is in regards to the technical failures that Robinhood had, the lack of diligence before approving customers to be able to trade options, and for purposely misleading information to trick customers into making decisions. Make no mistake, this settlement only accounts for the damages Robinhood did during the 2020 March outages, and not the 2021 scummy behavior it had when they blocked people from being able to buy the stocks they wanted. It has a ton of trials coming up regarding what happened earlier on January and February of this year, so the fines should be accruing up in the coming years. However, and this is something I wanted to touch on, I find the ambiguity and general mild tone of this fines to be the greatest crime. The fact that much of these fines are imposed based on guidelines and do not account for the percentage in revenue made from such actions. My point is, if Robinhood made billions of dollars in profits from acting in this blatantly illegal fashion, and they were only charged a mere $70 million, which is honestly pocket change for such a big company like them, then can we even consider this a punitive punishment? If anything, this should be categorized as a transaction fee, a cost for business, because what is to really stop Robinhood or any other broker for that matter from doing the same thing again in the future if the profit derived from such actions far outweighs the legal fees? It goes to show that laws are made for you and me, and they do nothing to correct the ever-pervasive psychopathic and destructive nature of these big corporations. We had some pretty bullish news today, with the DTC005 finally being active on the Federal Register. Now, we knew this was coming, and though it was a very positive development, the general response that I have seen from people in general has been very conflicting. The general sentiment to this is that people are angry that the SEC won't be doing much to enforce it. Upon me announcing this as a great way to start the day today, I was met with a lot of heavy criticism, with people attacking me on social media for apparently hyping this up. I guess being optimistic about a set of objective DTC rules that will help us squeeze is now considered to be pumping information for clout. Before I respond to the people who took this as an excuse to attack me and my character, let me first ground you with a reality check, because clearly you were misinformed about how any of this works. This new DTC ruling is not and has never been about SEC regulation. The SEC has absolutely no say in these rules, as I have stated before. The changes we have seen in the form of filings and amendments by the DTCC, as simply changes to the way the DTCC wants its business to work. The filings work more as big announcements, a big note of attention, for members of the market to know that the DTC is changing the way they compute and run transactions which all members are involved in. The SEC has absolutely no jurisdiction in dictating the way the DTC will run its complex algorithms that run trillions of dollars, because it is not the SEC's job to do so. They are there to enforce laws, not a business decision. Much of these rulings have been to automate processes, increase margin requirements, and a couple other various things, like making it easy for members and non-members to be able to participate in the event of a member going default and its assets being sold off. To those that took opportunity to insult me, to publicly call me out for apparently hyping these rules when the stock was going down this morning, insinuating that I am part of the problem for setting expectations high, please unsubscribe and unfollow me. You clearly run your expectations with the anticipation of constant gratification and upward movement, which I have been the one of the few to say it isn't going to happen, but you clearly leave that part out as it's not convenient for your poorly concluded. I have said, even on this Sunday's video, that we are entering a consolidation period where support will be tested. The fact that we are consolidating and fighting so strongly for so long at the $50 mark has apparently become boring to some because they only consider AMC a success if it climbs every day. You are either new to this game or you have very poor memory, because if you think AMC will only move upwards on the weekly, you are up for some very serious disappointment. The addition of 005 into the Federal Register is an amazing catalyst and one that I am most certainly excited for. As I have said, do not focus too much on the daily chart. The reality is that nobody is selling, and hedge funds have plenty of ways to defeat and attack the AMC price through a multitude of clever manipulative ways. They can attack ETFs that follow the stock, they engage in spoofing, they manipulate decimals to maintain bullish volume neutral on the computers, they reroute sell orders to regulated market while routing bullish orders through dark pools. They can manipulate the price to present an elusive perception of stock price depreciation, but they are stuck in a position. They are in a cycle where they can only hope to delay the inevitable by printing naked shorts. As such, only something massive will cause them to be margin called to the point where they default, which is when we start squeezing. If anything, this price decrease should be seen as a great opportunity to buy cheap. Don't impose judgment on others about information if you clearly don't even understand the very basic function of how the market works. And lastly, and this was a major set of news that came out yesterday, AMC has officially submitted a regulatory filing withdrawing Form S-3, which it had filed back on December of 2018. The form that they have submitted to withdraw, the Form S-3, is used when a company wants to raise capital. AMC had the disposition to raise capital through more dilution, but have now decided against it. This was a separate dilution form from the voting one that Adam Aron has been talking about. I am super glad to see that AMC is coming to understand and respect the wishes from its investors, and though they might disagree, they are starting to act in accordance with the wishes of its constituents. We might not all agree about the voting issue for more dilution that would be implemented next year, but at least this is another set of news that should at least be met with joy from most shareholders. I believe the general sentiment is that we don't want another dilution before the squeeze, and I totally back this. AMC already had one and they have been performing really well with audiences and the success of their new investor program. No more dilution, guys. The Fed certainly made headlines today, increasing its reverse repo operations to over $991 billion today, almost reaching $1 trillion. Dark pool trades reported for GME accounted for 53% of the total volume, while dark pool trading for AMC accounted for 62% of the total volume today. AMC had an interesting pre-market. I have said oftentimes that when the price of a stock rests on the VWAP line for a prolonged amount of time, it typically signifies something volatile looms in the horizon. AMC rested like a baby on the VWAP for almost the entirety of the pre-market until close to market opening the stock price was dipped below $55. However, a couple minutes into some of the consolidation it had at those levels, the price broke the resistance and had a pretty substantial run up to $58. The price consequently started to dip in a fashion that implied short ladder attacks. The stock managed to eventually find some consolidation right below the VWAP and had a head and shoulders pattern, where on the latter shoulder the stock was unable to break past that 56.43 price, and it essentially placed the price action of the stock to remain stagnant, eventually dropping a bit more to 55.25. However, something interesting happened when it dropped. The stock began trading on an upward wedge, eventually running with a high amount of volatility with intent of breaking out of it with force. The stock was once again dipped and closed the day above the VWAP like at a very bullish 56.68. This bullish performance will for sure have a positive impact tomorrow pre-market. Nothing can be said about normal trading hours, but chances are AMC trades in a range between 56.50 and 57.20, with a higher probability of testing that resistance at 57.20 than it will have of testing support back at 56.50. Stay bullish. GameStop had an even weirder price performance today, with it moving almost perfectly horizontal the entire day. The stock had that initial price drop upon market opening and then consolidation between the price of $209 and $211. The stock then broke resistance and had a vertical run to $214 before falling down and once again consolidating between the same price range of $209 and $211. What is to note here is the resting on the VWAP. This is super indicative of strength growing for a very volatile price action. The stock once again broke resistance for a little bit before being dipped. Then, Around the last hour of trading, GameStop ran and broke out of that price range of consolidation on the VWAP, reaching over 215. The stock traded a bit erratically and closed at 214.14, which was well above the VWAP. I think tomorrow we might get to see some of this momentum transition into the pre-market. I think GME trades in a pre-market range between 214 and 215. This stock is usually very neutral during pre-market, so probability on its ability to run upwards pre-market is not high. However, I am very bullish of this stock at the moment, and think it has been subjugated to trading near the 200 for far too long. We shall see what hedge funds have in store for us, but for now, I am very bullish, especially after seeing some of the price action in the after hours right now. Today's big question is, what is something that you wish you could change about yourself? Let me know in the comments below. I am curious to see your answers. And with that, I want to thank you for making it to the end of the video. Please drop a like if you found it useful, and please remember to comment. Remember that we can no longer sit on the sidelines and let hedge fund bots take over our community. Let me know if you liked the video, if you found it clear and insightful, and if you were excited and plan on buying more AMC or will hold to see what happens. Thank my Patreons, because without them this channel wouldn't be possible. I know not everybody can pledge support and instead opt for a one-time donation, and it is equally appreciated, so thank you all to the moon for your kindness. Also remember that if my name isn't highlighted in the comments, then it isn't me. Lots of bots are pretending to be me, so be careful. Either way, thank you for being here. Let me know if you liked the video and found it useful, and I hope to see you guys later today on the next one.